Welcome to the Book of Urm, Chapter 0, Prologue. Prologue. A young mother in her mid-20s held her son tightly in her arms as she hummed an Unscavian lullaby sweetly into his ear. Her name was Ravses, and her 8-year-old boy's name was Awartor. They had no second names, nor any family name or any such identifiers. She never knew her own, and she refused to let her son ever learn his. Only the numerical codes branded on the back of their necks gave any clue to their origins and to whom they belonged. Awartor slept soundly in his mother's lap as she rocked him slowly back and forth in the wet, creaking, stagnant darkness of the Wellenbrecher's bilge to counter the motion of the salt sea's rolling waves just on the other side of the boards she leaned against. They both lay below the large transport's cargo hold, hidden within a secret compartment beneath a false floor in a stall containing sacks of Unscavian spices, grains and dyes. Ravses softly sang the chorus of the tune into her sleeping son's ear. "I will soon dine with thee, O pantomime of mine, at a table rich and free with your hand inside of mine." Ravses had pale alabaster skin and light blonde hair that was translucent in the sunlight. Her large, melancholic eyes were watermelon pink, full of sadness and wanderlust. They tended to linger overlong on something when she was deep in thought. She avoided the sun as it hurt her eyes and sadistically cooked her skin. She had an alluring softness to her that others misconstrued as frailty or naivete, yet when she made eye contact with someone, they usually looked away first. She could hold her gaze at something without blinking for a very long time. Her sharp Unscavian teeth made her smile sensuous, infectious and garish all at the same time as it creased the laugh lines around her eyes. She very rarely laughed openly. She was never allowed to. In House Veklish, it was better to be both unseen and unheard, but whenever she did laugh, she veiled as a cough or a heavy sigh. Or she stifled altogether. From her soft hairline, just above her smooth forehead, grew 2 slender goat horns, bleached ivory white, curving gently backward. From the small of her back came a long white tail lined with soft white fur that came to a hooked point at the end. She wore a pale, light green summer dress, absconded from the mansion of House Veklish, and light sandals covered her feet with leather straps that wrapped up her bare calves. The only other possession she had was her sleeping son. She left what little else she owned back at the mansion, as she was informed by the human Muthen captain of the Wellenbrecher, Gunther Warner, to travel as lightly as possible. Choosing what to bring was the easiest part of her escape, for nothing meant more to her than Arta, and her goal was to ensure that his life would be different than hers and her forebears. She vowed that when he became old enough to make his own decisions, he would answer to no one. She looked down at her young son as his light-skinned tail twitched while he dreamed. Small ivory nubs had recently begun to grow from beneath his soft, light red hair, often causing him irritability and itchiness. It pleased her deeply that her son bore no resemblance to his human father, while also knowing that his existence put both of them in great peril, despite having their needs met by the nobleman who sired him. She always knew, since Artor's secret birth in the back of an Unscavian brothel in Eindungzirk, the Unscavian district of Muth's capital city, Norschlan, that one day it would end badly for them both. In fact, it surprised her that they survived as long as they did, all the way up to their secret boarding onto the Wavebreaker. Now, somewhere in the middle of the wide-open salt sea, far below the water's surface, in the lowest part of the ship, just above the keel itself, she finally felt a strange, new peace inside her, until she drifted off to sleep. She violently snapped awake. Ravsesi was no longer in the bilge of the ship, and Awartor was missing. She lay on her stomach on a muddy shore surrounded by black water. She was freezing. Steam came from each breath as she looked around the inside of a vast coral cave, lit by a strange, oscillating ambience. She bolted upright and wrapped her arms around herself, shivering uncontrollably. Ortor! She called weakly, but she only heard her own voice echo within the massive coral chamber. Ortor! What's happened? Where are you? Something moved in the water behind her, and she stood up and fearfully stepped away from the waterline. Large black writhing appendages emerged from the water surface all around her, followed by a black shiny dome. A large eye, the colour of curdled milk, then appeared before her within the massive head, easily as large as she was tall. Within its centre appeared a wide, horizontal black opening that flexed and contorted as the giant sea beast adjusted its focus on Ravziza. As their eyes locked, within her mind came a deep, monstrous voice that shook her very core. I know you, it spoke in her native Unscavian language derived from her ancient bloodline. I know you and your child are alone in this world. I will help you. I will protect you from harm. I will keep you safe. Be comforted. Be aligned with me. Ravziza shivered again, then cocked her head and stared into the large eye looming before her. This is a dream, isn't it? This isn't real. But you've invaded my sleep, whatever you are, you monster. Why do you offer this to me? What am I to you? I am Icthefaloksu. You are Ravziza. You are Nalupizausu of the line of Pizauskul, descendant of Sunyakari Aripala, the sorceress summoner, Empress Tiafuen, who beckoned me into this world during Peralivu, the ritual that brought on the cataclysm that formed the Salt Sea, where I now reside at the bottom, and you now sail upon its surface. The words of the monster inside her mind bore no meaning to her, and yet they pulled her down to her knees, as if the unbearable weight of things far beyond her understanding were being revealed to her, before she could gain any bearing or context. Her body trembled, but she continued glaring deep into the beast's strange eye. She felt a strange resistance inside of her, at war with the equally present and powerful compulsion to give in to whatever demands and promises Icthefaloksu offered. I don't know what you mean. Nothing you say makes... Her Unscavian words were cut off. I offer to you an accord like others who came before you, but you must do something for me, and give something to me as collateral until the deed is done. Anger suddenly rose up within her, and she said defiantly, What then? What do you want from me? What can I possibly offer to... whatever you are? Seek Pisovayalaim, the ring of Tiafen, your ancestor within the haunted fortress and broken halls of the fallen Callistico family of Alagost. It belongs to you, it will come to you, and we will wield it together when the time comes. And what of this collateral? She asked. Give me the boy for me to look after, said the giant monster. Her reaction was immediate, and it came even before she was aware of it. Spit flew from her mouth and into the monster's eye, followed by her screaming, Never! The large alien eye seemed to study her for several moments. Then the deep cosmic voice said, Very well. This engagement is now concluded. The opportunity has passed. Farewell, Ravziza Pizauskul of Nalupizausu, heiress and inheritor of Sunyakari Aripala. May you and your son find peace in this world, or after. Thank you for listening to this chapter from the Book of Urm. If you enjoyed this reading, like and subscribe to our channel, and consider supporting us at the Book of Urm at patreon.com.